Okay.
We're here.
Hi.
Cold Pod. Episode, what is this? 5?
No, I don't know if it will be episode 5.
6,
though, right?
maybe.
Yeah,
6.
6 or something.
Excellent.
We have the man here, Anthony Gerace.
Hi.
He's a little hungover.
Hi. Yeah, don't talk about that.
Oh, don't worry. We were all there.
Also, the first day pod.
The first day pod.
Have these been being recorded
all
at night?
night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
usually a little more sippy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I actually quite enjoy this.
I'm
Yeah,
ready
nice,
for this. This is gonna be nice.
Sober, thoughtful.
Sober, thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's start with this Airbnb. Because we gotta start here. Because
Okay.
I only know the beginning of this story when you were over on the weekend, and something happened since then. But I feel like we should start from the beginning.
I can tell the whole story. So I'm in Canada. I live in Scotland, and I'm here for a month, hanging out with my mom, and my wife and I came to Toronto. She came for the night, and then she flew out. We stayed at a hotel the night we got here.
One King West,
which was
Oh.
great and weird. And that's an entirely different story. But I really enjoyed being on the 32nd floor.
Right.
I've never been that high up in Toronto, and especially looking out over King Street. It was cool.
just looking out at the 6.
Yeah, I was looking out at the 6th.
You're like, I made it.
I know, and it felt really good. And so I booked myself. I'm staying for a few extra days, and I thought, I don't need to stand on ceremony. I can stay somewhere shitty. It doesn't matter. And so I booked myself into an Airbnb up at Gerace and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm only here for 3 days. I don't need to stay somewhere. I don't need to stay somewhere fancy.
Yeah.
And so I booked an Airbnb that advertised itself as, having a private entrance and, single bedroom. And I was like, fine, whatever. Like I'll be seeing friends. That's fine. Anyway, I left One King West, and I headed up to my Airbnb, and it was like around 7:00, and I was coming down after checking in to meet up with yourself and Lauren, and I got there, and I checked the check-in instructions, and it said, get the key to the back gate from the mailbox. Enter the back gate, lock it, make sure you really forcefully, make sure you lock it behind you, and then enter this code on this door, and then enter this code on this door. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. So I went to get the key. It wasn't there. I had to message the host, and the door, and so I'm basically sitting on the porch of this stranger's house, waiting for the host to respond, and without any response, the door handle just slowly pulls down, and I'm just like, oh. And this guy comes out, and he says nothing to me, but he reaches out and sort of leans in, but I'm maybe twice the distance from his arm's length, and so I have to then reach out and grab this, and he's not saying anything to me, and he's locking eyes with me, and I'm just like, this is insane. I was like, fine, if I can handle one weird moment. So I get into the Airbnb, I enter the code on the first door, and I get in, and it's a long sort of corridor that's very dimly lit. At the end, there's a door without a handle on it, hanging open, and that's my bedroom. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And so I'm just like, well, that's fine. I guess the bedroom door doesn't have a handle. I knew this was going to be a shitty Airbnb, so whatever. And so I sit down on the camp bed that is teeny tiny. I mean, I'm 6'4", and I would say that from my shins down, we're hanging off the edge of the bed. And I was just like, okay, I knew what I signed up for. And then I get this call from an unknown number, and I'm just like, who is it? And it's a really staticky call, and this woman is shouting, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I said, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? And then there's a pause that's just full of static, and it's just I can hear you. And it's just she's like, the last tenant broke the door handle. It's being fixed tonight. And I was just like, it's 7:00. My check-in was at 3:00. Like, surely, and checkouts at Airbnbs are at like 10 or 11. That's like a solid 8 hours to see to this. And I'm just like, okay, well, great. And she's like, I will message you the new door code. And it's at that moment that it dawned. Well, no, it's actually not at that moment. So I leave, have a lovely evening, a little bit tipsy, walk back, and I get in and I enter the code, and then I see that the handle of the door to my room also has a code. I'm just like, this doesn't bode well. So I enter that code. And I go in, and I'm so like tired, and whatever. I'm tired. I think I'll just take a little rest before I brush my teeth and get ready for bed. And I sit down, I lie down on the bed, and I'm checking my phone, and I hear the front door open, and a guy come in with a really thick cough. And then I hear a microwave door open and close, and then the beeping of a microwave, and I'm just like, and then it just like dawns on me that the entire premise of the Airbnb is a bit of a swizz, because it is a private room,
right?
But it's a private bedroom in a shared Airbnb, and it was a complete and I'm just like, oh, now I'm not brushing my teeth because there's some dude out there coughing and microwaving something and eating, and the bed, and I'm just like, the bed is so like gross and tiny, and I'm just like, I'm also not going to get under these sheets because this bed is horrible. So I sleep fully clothed on top of the sheets, get up, and I'm just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I book a hotel, and then I'm just thinking like, Lord, let the shower at least be decent. And I go into the bathroom, and the shower's filthy, and it looks like someone lives there, because it's just like crusty bottles of Head and Shoulders and like hair in the drain. And I was just like, fuck this. I was horrified, and I was just like, I sent her a message at that point, and reading it back, it was probably like a bit too nice and a bit too passive aggressive, but I was just like, just so you know, I've decided to check out. This is how I think my tone sounds. Just so you know, I've decided to check out early. Coming into an Airbnb without a handle on the door doesn't inspire a lot of safety. And then some stranger walked in, and he was coughing, and I was COVID wary, so I've left the key in the mailbox. And of course, like, if you read that in like a friendly way, it actually sounds fine. So I get a response back, thanks, we've already rebooked the room. And I'm just like, oh, fine.
So you're not going to change anything about this for anyone else.
Right, exactly. This is going to be a horrible experience for whoever's next.
The next person.
Yeah. So that was my Airbnb experience, and I had such a lovely Airbnb experience when I was here over Christmas, because stayed at a place right around the corner from Josh's, and the host left us a bottle of sparkling wine, a Happy New Year's message, and
yeah, you left the card and stuff. You were like, my host is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. And and then I thought, oh, the Airbnbs in Toronto must be like a cut above.
Oh, how wrong you were.
How I was dead wrong.
So now you're staying in a hotel, and things are,
now I'm staying in a hotel. I had a great night.
Clean shower.
Took a long luxurious shower.
Nice.
I was gonna go back last night and take a bubble bath. No bathtub, but that's fine. I don't mind that.
Oh my god. Well, it's funny because like Airbnbs are truly such a gamble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even the photos, like you truly have no idea. Like when I was in LA, I stayed in an Airbnb, which is actually quite nice. It was like a small house in the back of a larger house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I stayed at one of those too. They're great.
However, and I really should have complained, but it had like a hammock in the back. And we were there for like a week and a half, and the whole time it was great. I'd sit in the hammock, swung between these two trees, like on my phone, whatever,
Nice.
listening to music. And then one day, we were like at the studio, and I came back, and the tree had just fallen.
Oh.
and like completely crushed the hammock. And I was like, if I was sitting in there, I would be like, it wouldn't have killed me, but it would have like, I would have had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you would have had a tree fall on
You have had a tree fall on you. That might have killed you.
Yeah, that's
that
like
might have actually killed you.
seriously dangerous. That's crazy.
But for some reason, I just couldn't even be bothered to complain because we were there for so much longer, and I was like, then I could have like a tree cleanup coming. You know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
it was just such and I feel like that must be a thing because at the end of the day, it's like such an issue to try to fix these things while you're staying there for a long time.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? So it's just like,
100%. And like
you kind of just go with it, and you're just like, okay, fine. Like, I
kind
guess
of
this
pierces
tree's
the bubble of like
my
privacy
home.
that you
Yeah.
feel like you've cultivated.
Yeah.
Like even though Airbnbs are not private in the least, like there's so much less private than a hotel.
Yeah.
I left my room and I had the option of putting the do not disturb sign on or the please clean my room sign. I thought, you know what, I'm worth it. Please clean my room. I was like, at an Airbnb, you're using the same like horrible towel that you provided for, weeks. Yeah.
I remember seeing this Instagram story. I forget who it was, but they went to this Airbnb in Montreal, and it was like the strangest layout. It had like just weird corners, and it had like small little half doors and like weird little cubbies all over the place. And there was, I forget what it was, but there was just like so many strange little elements to this
Yeah.
Oh
room.
yeah, I love that.
It was so sick.
Just like, what's in door number 3?
Yeah, there would just be like these strange doors to nowhere. It was
Have you ever heard of the Winchester Mystery House?
No.
I think it's in Eureka, Oregon, or somewhere.
Eureka, Oregon?
I think so.
That's the name of the
Or
pub.
maybe Eugene. I don't know. It's, I
I've
think
heard
it's in Eureka.
Okay.
But I think it's Mary Winchester was the last living heir of like the Winchester rifle fortune.
Okay.
The story goes that she was so horrified by the collective number of deaths that her family's rifles had caused.
Yeah.
That she had this vision that she had to keep adding to her house to sort of like, I think it was like to stave off the devil or something like, or to like, and so this the Winchester Mystery House is this, it's got something like 200 rooms and none of them make sense, and like doors go to parts of the house that like, well, not doors like. Like there's like trap doors, and you find yourself in, like apparently it is.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. I like really want to go.
Can you just? Is it open to the public?
Oh
Or is
yeah,
it like
It's like a museum now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Fuck! I really want to go to that.
The house I grew up in used to be like a bed and breakfast. There was the one it's like built in 1863, and it was like a bed and breakfast in like the 1900s and
Yeah.
stuff. And during the Prohibition, they built like a tunnel underground to our house so that they could deliver alcohol to this bed and breakfast. And
Really?
one day my dad and I were like just chilling in the basement, and he was like had some tools or something. We were doing some guy shit, and
man stuff.
and we find this you could tell it was a door, and it had been completely bricked off.
Yeah.
And then that's where we found out that this was where the tunnel went
Right.
to. We never broke down the door because I'm sure the tunnel's like completely filled in.
Yeah.
There was straight up just like an underground tunnel to
That's
this house.
insane.
And there was a couple things like that. I think it was probably just because it was a bed and breakfast that had like separate doors for the maids and stuff.
Yeah.
So that you didn't have to see the maids.
Right.
You know what I
So they
mean?
could just come in and
Yeah, and
sneak
so
in,
there's
do a
just this
quick
like
fix
in
and go.
every room there was like this random door that was completely like closed off.
Well,
But
that
it
sounds kinda
it made no
scary.
sense as to like where it went, because
Right.
there wouldn't be a door on the other side.
Oh,
It
man.
was so weird. There was just like doors where but not another door. Like it was so
So a door
terrifying.
without
It was
the port or
terrifying.
whatever.
Yeah.
That would make me feel like I was going insane.
As a kid, I loved it because I got to just sit there and imagine like all the really cool places these doors
These doors can lead.
after like Bridge to Terabithia and stuff. I was
Yeah,
like, or
yeah.
Narnia or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all of those. I was like, yeah.
You're like,
This is
I
the door to
live in
Narnia.
the
I
house.
know it is. I don't need to find out. I just know it is.
I don't know. You hear those stories about people sort of stripping wallpaper. And finding like a door that leads nowhere.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like that strikes me as like the most unsettling thing. Like
Yeah.
a place that you feel like that you're habitating, and that you know, just having all of these like little secrets about it that like.
Well, there was like a TikTok trend. Again, I
Yeah.
don't really use TikTok, but like every now and then I'll pull it up and take a little peek.
Yeah.
But there was like a trend of people doing this exact thing where they would like discover doors and things in their apartments that like lead to like really weird places. Like there was one where it was like a bathroom and like
it was,
beside
behind the mirror.
Yeah, it was like behind the mirror.
That's right. I saw that.
And there was like a hole and then a staircase, and it just like went into like some other like apartment that was just
I
like
saw that.
Yeah, that was
so sketchy.
I have a reoccurring dream. Every single time I'm like about to move into a place, I have this same, or like I'm like start living at a place. Every place I've lived, I've had this dream where there's like this. I'll have a dream and there'll be like this whole secret place, and my room, my like apartment will all of a sudden like triple in size, and I have like these super vivid dreams about all my extra rooms that I now have.
Yeah.
And then I always wake up being so mad because they're not there, and I still live in like a tiny little bedroom.
Like, fuck, the door's gone.
Oh, it's the best dream.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Oh my god. So you moved? You bought a house?
I bought a house. Well, we bought a flat, but it's twice the size of our old flat, so it feels like a house.
What constitutes a flat?
It's like an apartment.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I did know that, but like
There's no distinction in the UK between an apartment and a condo, which I learned recently because I was having a conversation with my dad about it. So I was like, what is it? Like, what is a condo? Why, like, why do you, because they were like, oh, we can't wait to see your condo. And I was just like, so that's a very mean impression. Dad, Dory, if you're listening, please don't think that's how I think you speak. But they were like, we can't wait to see your condo. And I was just like, I don't know if I would call it a condo. And they're like, well, what would you call it?
it's a
I was
flat.
like, it's a flat. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You've been
I was
in
like,
the
what
UK
is a
for-
condo?
What?
And they're like, well, a condo is an apartment that you own. And I was like, right, okay, I didn't know that. Like, it's so
Yeah.
it's just an apartment. It's a 3-bedroom apartment
Okay.
with a big living room and a big kitchen and a storage closet.
And that's in Glasgow.
It's in Glasgow, yeah.
Scottishman.
I know. I'm loving Glasgow.
Okay.
It's been very cool getting to know it, and I like that it's smaller. I lived in London for almost 10 years, and there were still parts of London that I just never been to.
Yeah.
Never been to. I mean, that's the same. That's true for Toronto too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, but
who goes east of Yonge?
Me?
You.
Yeah, well, that's where you grew up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, true.
I love when people say like, "Who goes east of Yonge?" I'm like, I do.
Yeah, sorry. That's,
But true.
But yeah, but I know
there's
what I
a lot.
get.
Yeah. Like, I've never been to the Danforth.
Yeah.
Like,
Real ever?
think
I actually
maybe
really
once.
like that area.
What?
Yeah.
You've been to the Danforth Music Hall?
I've never been to the Danforth.
Oh
Music Hall.
shit!
I've never been.
Opera House?
I've been to the. That's not on the Danforth. Though,
No,
is
it's
it?
the East End.
But I have been to the Opera House.
Okay, so you've been to the East End.
I was supposed to go see Destroyer at the Opera House in 2012, and it was like a midday show. It was this weird acoustic set, and me and my friend Troy and Aileen and I think someone else were gonna go, and then we were gonna go to like a house party or like a barbecue or something. So we had to time it so that we got all of the booze for the barbecue before the show, because after the show ended, the LCBO would have been closed.
Yeah.
So I had like a giant bag full of beer. And I went to the Opera House and I was like, listen, like, full disclosure, I'm carrying around all these beers, but like, can I just check my bag? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay, well, what can I, like, is there somewhere that I can store them? And they're like, no. And I was just like, okay, well, what should I do? And they're like, maybe take them home. And I was like,
You don't live around here.
so we had to skip the show.
No way.
Yeah,
because
they were just like, sorry, no outside alcohol allowed. And I was just like, no, I'm telling you that I have it. I'm not gonna drink it, and you must have a bag check. And they're like, we have a bag check.
But not for booze.
And I was like, okay, and yeah, and like, no, like they were like,
wow.
But it's kind of funny from their perspective, though, to
yeah.
think of like a guy showing up to also a Destroyer show.
I know.
Destroyer acoustic show with like a 2-4.
I know. I mean, it was. I could see their perspective, even as I was like furious about it. But I was just like, just let me in, like. And I think I said it as whinily as that, like,
Let me in.
yeah, please, I want to see the show. Yeah, and I missed it.
I always ditch it in an alley.
Me too.
Yeah, that's my move.
Do you not worry that it's gonna
Get tampered?
Yeah.
get tampered?
Yeah. Yeah, it never has. I've been lucky so
I mean,
far.
if it's winter, then it's smooth sailing.
yeah,
It's buried in the
nice and
snowbank.
cold. And you're
That
great.
sounds
It's
great.
It's a free
That
refrigerator.
sounds so good.
Although I'm a little weary of doing that now because the last time I remember like really doing it, I was also at the Opera House. I went to go see Fucked Up, and I brought, I don't know, a bottle of whiskey or something, and like had a couple, like not even a lot, had like a couple of sips, like in the alleyway before the show. Hid it there. Went to the show, had a great time, and then after the show, like we all went back to go get it, and then I slipped and fell and cut my hand open, and I had to go to the hospital.
You had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, you can still see the scars, like on the corner of my hand.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I literally it ripped open, and I was like, this blood shooting everywhere. It was pretty insane.
Man.
And I remember like calling my dad and being like, hey Dad, I'm at the hospital. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of blood.
Actually, the last time I think I was at the Opera House, or it might have been Danforth. It was in the East End somewhere. I went to a Silverstein concert.
Ooh.
A Silverstein and Hawthorne Heights concert. And I was in the mosh pit, and I was wearing these like big clunky winter boots.
Yeah.
And this story is so lame, but I was in the mosh pit and I slipped.
Oh no.
And I smashed my face off the ground and had to get like 6 stitches above my eye. But I'm like,
That's part of the pit, bro.
It was part of the pit, but it wasn't sick. It wasn't like I got like hit or like was like, you know. And it was also like a Hawthorne Heights.
Yeah,
show.
yeah. It's like it's a pretty mild
tame.
pit.
It was a mild
Who
pit.
is Hawthorne Heights? I don't know.
Ohio is for lovers.
That's the name of their song.
Yeah,
That's
they're
like the
an
only
emo-
song I know.
Like a Taking Back Sunday kind of emo band.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
They were- yeah. Anyways, but I fell. I got up. I thought I was fine. I thought I was just like sweating. I didn't even realize. I walked over to my girlfriend and my friend at the time, and apparently my face is just covered in blood.
Oh my
That's
Absolutely.
It's such a funny moment too when you like when the guys are like, all right, babe, I'm going into the pit for a bit, and then they come back.
Like, hey guys, what's up?
Oh Jesus! And I can just imagine the like invisible circle that just like started widening and widening around you as everyone like in horror, like not wanting to get covered in the blood that's just like coursing down your face. That's crazy.
Were you ever a pit man?
Briefly,
Really?
in high school, and then yeah, in high school I was really into like hardcore and emo and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and London, Ontario, where I'm from, had at the time a thriving Christian hardcore scene.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh.
not Christian, but I spent a lot of time in church basements and rec centers.
That was the place.
Yeah. London?
No, well, I mean, just church basements.
Oh, yeah.
Because that stemmed to Aurelia too. It was like all like church basements where I was too young for this. Like I went to like 1 or 2, but there were like every weekend there was like a church basement hardcore show.
Yeah. They were so fun. Like, they were so fun. And there was like a pretty like... And it's weird to think now that like all of these bands were like 16 and 17-year-olds.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so weird.
That's
like,
the craziest part.
Yeah.
I like saw a video recently of like some band. I forget who it was. But they're playing in like it's like 93 or something, and it's like, and then someone comment was just like, you know, they're like 14 in this video, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my
It's just like
God.
children, but like,
Well, like I think like Slint were like 19 when they recorded Spiderland.
Really?
That's mental.
yeah.
Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine how weird that feels to have something you did like just out of high school
Yeah.
like following you for the rest of your
Yeah,
life?
yeah.
Like, but yeah, those hardcore shows were great, and like London had like a really, at the time it felt like a really thriving scene.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I was telling Josh, I've been in London for 3.5 weeks, and our friend Andrew was, you know Andrew.
I think I met him.
Yeah, you
last
met
night.
him last night, yeah.
Andrew's bands were playing a show in London, and I was like, cool. Haven't been to a gig in London in 20 years. This is gonna be great. Oh, it was so weird and sad, and the place was fucking empty, and like with no, like it was like there were maybe 30 people there, but I think that's a good turnout for London, because Andrew was telling me a story yesterday that oh now I can't. Someone was supposed to play like the main stage of the London Music Hall, like it's like a 500 capacity venue.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we gotta cancel. We've pre-sold 20 tickets. Like, and it's just like, It's really depressing.
20 tickets
Yeah,
for
yeah.
like a headline. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, like, and
that's
it's like nothing to do with any of the bands coming through. It's just that London is like downtown London is turbo fucked. Like, it's so strange there.
Yeah, you were saying it's not a fun zone.
It's not a fun zone. I mean, I have my oldest friend runs a brewery out of London, and anytime I come back, he's like, "We're gonna go out. I'm gonna take you to a bunch of places you've never been." I'm like, "Cool." And he did that again this visit.
Yeah.
And like we went sort of east, as far east out of downtown as you can go before like starting to hit like the East End suburbs. And there's this old Kellogg's cereal factory that's been converted into like another brewery and a bar and like an art space, and like there's a big like bit of shops, and I was like, oh, this is like thriving. It's packed.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh right. So I guess and then Aileen, my wife, was sort of saying she's involved in urban planning and architecture and sort of spatial theory, and she's saying like there's like a theory that like in a core that's like dilapidated or hollowed out, if you start building around it and sort of do concentric circles in,
right.
that's like a strategy. That's like a revitalization strategy.
I thought you were gonna say if you just move east.
yeah, exactly. Like you just keep moving east.
Just keep sprawl.
Modern cities just keep going.
Yeah, like it's like an apple. Like if the core is rotten, you just eat around it.
Oh my god, that's very funny. You've been record shopping while you're here. Now I wanted to ask you about this.
Go on.
Oh, the infamous record shopping?
No. I was gonna say the first time when I first met you, you had what I would say was the largest CD collection I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It was
CDs. Now you've since switched to like vinyl as being like collecting records, like a lot of people do and whatever. But there's been a resurgence of the CD.
I've seen a bit of that. I feel fine about it. I'm never gonna. The thing I like about records is you have people over, and rather than being like, going through a CD collection, like there's
like
nothing
a little
like,
booklet.
Yeah, like the little booklet or whatever. Like there's a social aspect to it where it's like you flip the record, you put it on, you flip it, you put another one on, you say like, does anyone want to choose something? Does anyone? And like you get people having a look, pulling stuff out, like putting it on. I find it, and I find like the sort of activeness. Mm-hmm. There's like an inherent activeness in the way that you listen. Yeah. That, like, I mean,
No, I agree. As someone who doesn't listen to records, I do agree with you though. Yeah. Because I just have the stuff. Like I have a turntable sitting in storage. I have records, but I basically use them as, like, as you can see, display.
I do like that. I mean, I don't know what started me buying records again. When I left Toronto in 2012, I had like sold all of my CDs. Anything that I couldn't sell, I just tossed out, which seems weird after like.
Yeah, somebody made that.
No.
I'm joking,
I had ripped it all onto my computer.
I'm joking.
I know you are. But I had like a little record collection, and I loved that sort of interactiveness of it, and staring at the cover, and I do a lot of art for bands and labels, and so to see somebody's work at that size feels much more. You can really dig into it in a way.
Yeah, it's way more important than a little tiny JPEG on Spotify.
Yeah, totally. Like, or even just like CD artwork. Like I did a cover for a band in Osaka last year called Merry Ghosts. And I was so psyched. I was really, really happy with how the work turned out, and it went to a place where I didn't think it was going to go, and super into it. But because there's not really a vinyl culture in Japan, right. Like there's not going to be like an LP pressing of it, right? And I'm just like, I want that where I want that in pride of place in my house, right. Because I was like so happy with how it turned out, and it was just weird to like get the CD, and it felt so tiny.
Yeah. But I think you can do a lot with the CD though.
Oh, 100%.
If you design for the CD,
Yeah.
as opposed to shrinking a piece of artwork to fit a CD. You know?
Do you guys remember that No Age album, Nouns?
I do.
You know Nouns.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the CD version of that had like a 60-page book of like collages and artwork with it.
Yeah.
With this like what's it called? Not tip on, but
What was that venue called? The Smell?
The Smell, yeah. But no, but like the edge of the paper was like rainbow color. It was so awesome looking. Like
that's
and
sweet.
and like the vinyl is just like a standard like paper sleeve inside. Like and yeah, so I think like when you're doing stuff like that, like and you're really like sort of making the format work for you, it's amazing.
I feel like there was a couple CDs I got as a kid that had like a fold out poster
Right.
that came with them inside.
Yeah.
Those were always so fun to find that.
Yeah. Just like a little bonus.
Yeah. Music was more than music.
When music was more than music. It was more than music. Do you remember when I called you a graphic designer once and you got really mad at me?
I didn't get really mad. I just like, and I didn't get really mad. Like I just, and you know, you didn't. I was a graphic designer for the longest time, but it was always sort of like a placeholder while I like. Yeah, it's weird. Like
You were like, I'm an artist.
yeah, I did say that.
You did say that. And
I did.
I was like, sorry, man. I'm really sorry.
I did, but that. No, I think I explained. I explained my reasoning. I think I explained myself clearly, Josh. So
I don't know why you're bringing this up again.
been
I
through
settled
Well, I wanted you on the record.
yeah, I mean, not a graphic designer,
Artist.
maker,
Maker of things.
yeah,
Politico.
thinker.
Criterion Collection.
You know, I describe myself first and foremost as a human being.
But above all, I'm a man.
Yeah, just like you. Just like you. We're all the same.
We're all in this together.
Yeah, but I studied graphic design, so I understand why you thought I was a graphic designer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I more so knew or sort of equated your work for sale as, or sorry, your trade, if you will, as designing things that were being put out.
Right.
For sure.
So that's where I kind of got that.
Yeah.
But
I think
that's not
it's
to
my own hang-ups that were at play there, because like I don't think of myself as that, but I know that the vast majority of how I make a living is through various versions of that.
Right. I mean, the world needs more graphic designers.
The world needs nothing more than more graphic designers. That's the problem. We don't have enough logos.
Nope.
Not enough branding experts. You know, not enough.
We can't forget about creative directors either. We need those too.
Creative directors, art directors. You know, all of them, the whole gang. Like,
yeah, but to be fair, despite the large majority of graphic designers that exist in the world, I'm still always so surprised at how terrible most designs are for major brands.
Yeah,
it's like it's insane to me that there's these many people working in this field, and yet like.
But I don't think that's down to the graphic design. I think that's entirely down to like the committee based decision making in huge brands, because it's crazy how like lowest common denominator so much stuff is. Like, it's wild.
It's got to appeal to the masses. So it's, but no, I know. I know.
Maybe the masses don't know what they want. Okay.
Maybe it's up to the graphic designer.
Yeah, that's the designer's job. The designer's job is to tell you what you want before you know you want it. So don't start with me. Oh God, I remember when I was in school for design, like that was like the prevailing attitude that like you're gonna come up against a lot of people who don't understand what you're doing, but just know that you're right, they're wrong.
The customer is always wrong.
Yeah.
Everyone's always wrong. I mean, I think there is like a different twist on that. That's true, which is just that everyone has a different take.
Yeah, for
than
sure.
You.
For sure.
But like, yeah. It's a easy way to go down a rabbit hole of narcissism.
Yeah. And I mean, like design school, like with all due respect to, you know, all of my lecturers, like there's a lot of lecturers who are like old school, like art directors or like lead designers or whatever you want to call them, who are just like, back in the day, we read Eric Spiekerman and not Mies van der Rohe, Jan Schieshold, and like, now everyone does it on the computer. I laid out type by hand. It's like, yuck. One of the nice things, you mentioned Criterion, one of the nice things about working with them is that like, the art director that I work with there, Eric, like he pushes me into every single time we work together. He's pushed me to a place where I didn't think the work would have or could have gone, and I'm always, it's always like a very, very satisfying feeling to like get to a point beyond what your expectation of the end point could be.
Right. Yeah.
And I actually think that like, as much as I'm not a graphic designer, like I do need that kind of like someone being like, this is good, but it's not good enough.
Right? Yeah.
Like,
no, you need that.
Do it better.
As soon as you're working for yourself, or whenever you're working for yourself, you create these endpoints.
Oh, 100%.
And they could be good enough to you.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need that little like, is it? And you're just like,
well, you're getting over the hurdle of like the idea itself too.
Yeah.
You're getting over like the large product, which like is really hard for you to think about, and it's hard to come up with. But then it's like someone who has an objective viewpoint on that, and is like, I don't care where this idea came from. I don't care how hard the idea was to come up with.
It's not.
It's
finished.
here now, and it's not done.
Totally. No, and like those are the best art directors that I work with. It's where it's like, love what you've done, but you can do better. You can do a lot better than this. And I'm not satisfied with this. And here are like 5 things that you should change. Try changing them. And like they're seeing something in you, in what you've done that like you can't see because you're a bit blinkered.
But it's always going to be tough though, because like once that ego gets in the way.
Oh, I'm nothing if not pure ego.
Keeps us sane. It gets us somewhere.
I'm like, it's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
I always so Aileen, my wife, has a very demanding job with very, very demanding clients, and it's super high stress. And she'll be on calls for like 4 hours a day, like leading her team, and talking to the client and managing expectations. And of course, like it's a big if I ever have to have a call with any of these, because it's always just emails.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I have to have a call today. It's 10 minutes. Or it's like, can you believe they want to see another option for this? And just say, well, how much work have you done? And I'm just like, I don't know. Some. Like I feel for her having to like deal with the like tantrums that I throw over absolutely nothing.
Yeah, no, but it's funny you say that, because when it's time for a call, that throws off my entire day.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I like am doing nothing but having that call.
Yeah, it's like Lauren will be like, she'll be like, oh, what do you got planned for today? I'm like, I got a call today.
At 3, so I'm doing nothing.
So, I'm just going to do my own thing for the next 5 hours. Meanwhile, she's like, I had like 4 calls today, and then I went and did this, and I did that, and I did that. And I'm like, I got my call today.
Yeah.
If there's 2, I might die. I don't think I can handle it.
You ever had 2 calls in a day? It sucks. It sucks. You're really like, you're pulled by horses in 2 directions.
But the saddest part is when you do the call and then you really feel like you've accomplished something.
Yeah.
You're just like,
it does feel
You're like, all right.
Do you make notes while you're on the call?
I do.
And then read back the notes like 6 months later, and you're like,
what
the fuck was I doing?
Oh, I know, because it's all just like weird bullet points. I started writing in a notebook for my notes.
That's good.
And it's kind of changed everything, because you only really write down what's actually important.
Right.
And not like buzzwords you might hear someone say, or like someone being like, oh, we want it to be more like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, like vibey. And then I look like, what is that? How was I trying to explain that to myself, my future self?
How do you make something more vibey?
Yeah, how do you make something more vibey?
How do you add those vibes?
The funny thing with music and adding vibes is a lot of times people don't know what they're even hearing, and you can not even send the same thing twice, but just like do the most minor thing and be like, really vibed out the
Nice.
the middle section.
Nice.
They're like love it,
Nice.
absolutely love it. And I'm like, you just want a revision. You don't even care what's a revision. You just want.
So I do think some people just, in order to feel as if they are contributing, just do a pass of making notes.
Yeah. No, it's like a validation.
Just so it's
thing.
like yeah.
It's like
I have something to say.
It's like my opinion counts. Like,
Yeah.
why don't you just try that? And you're like, but again, when it's so abstract and it's literally like vibes, or like, can you make it feel a bit different?
Yeah.
But then, like,
okay.
do you ever have the experience of someone says to do that, and you sort of roll your eyes and do it, and then you listen back and you're like, oh my god,
No,
So
no,
cool.
100. This has been happening a lot with the
Yeah.
score I'm working on, where I'm just like doing these things, and I'm like, sure, I can try that, and like the director's like sitting beside me, and then I do it, and I'm just like, oh damn,
yeah, totally.
Like, you were right.
Yeah, it's such a weirdly satisfying feeling.
Yeah.
And that's been mostly like removing stuff, right?
Yeah, mostly removing stuff. Well, just because I figured out the way that works best for me and for the people that I'm working with, which has always been for the score to overwrite, like write too much music for a scene, too many things happening, and then watching it and taking things out,
for
muting
sure.
things until you have this shell of a quote unquote song.
Yeah.
Sure.
But really what you're hearing is the drone that's in that song. But it moves because it's moving around a song.
Yeah.
But you can't hear that song.
That's the same with like writing screenplays too. It's like most of my stuff ends up being like 200 pages at first, and then it's just like cutting it down to like 110.
Right.
Max.
Yeah.
But it's always so much better to have way too much.
Exactly, yeah.
And
I mean, it's better.
then-
Yeah, it's better than forcing yourself to have to like to flesh something out
Yeah,
for
sure.
no
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, yeah.
And then you're just like, it's just filler at that point.
Yeah.
And it gives you excuse to do a second draft where you just cut things.
Yeah.
Which is the
Yeah.
best feeling.
I can't. I struggle with that. I mean, I guess it's like it's different, but like the idea of like editing
Yeah.
makes me feel crazy.
Yeah.
Like I had to the gallery that I work with in Berlin is applying for an art fair, and they're getting me and another two collage artists who work with their own images. And she was like, "Can you send like an edit of 10 images and like your most recent CV, and I can like send this off?" I was like, "Sure." I was like, "I can't pick 10." And I was like, "I picked 30 images. Can you make the edit?"
yeah.
And she was like, Thank you. That's great. Like, there's definitely like an edit of 10 images in here that I can make." And I'm just like, "Thank you, great." Like, but I just can't, like, I can't get that distance from it. Like,
Yeah.
That would be hard. Yeah, that would be really hard. Like trying to figure out which of these 10 images is the ones that like stand out the best. That'd be tough.
But is it not the same with
Not
screenplays?
really, because you can just tell where it's like this has already been said. Because it's like all one cohesive piece, right? It's not.
Oh, right, true.
It's not like it's all one cohesive piece. So you know that this has already been said in a previous scene. This whole thing's been like this has been laid out for you. This emotional beat has already been hit.
Yeah.
So it's just like we don't need doubles of these. You know what I mean?
Right, true.
And
Yeah,
you end up just writing a lot of doubles of scenes, or scenes that are different but are doing the same thing for the story. And so that's easy, and that's fun.
What's funny, the whole emotional beats thing, because I'd never even heard of this until I started working on this. I just got a thing sent to me like, here's the emotional beats, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I just kind of figured it out on my own.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is how they do it. It's like weaseling my way into something I've never done before. I'm like, yeah, I got the emotional beats PDF. Like, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Oh, I don't know if I like things when they're like that, like especially emotional things when they're like have to be laid out. That's my least favorite part of screenwriting personally, is when you have to like structure the emotion of a thing.
Right.
It kills me every single time. That absolutely destroys me, because it's just like this isn't what this is.
Well, it's important though, because when I saw the film for the first time without any music or whatever, you need it in a sense to I'm not read along, but to kind of like when you go back and like look at a certain scene, you're like, oh, this is what's actually happening.
Totally.
Where it's not even to say that it's you can't notice it without it, but it just sometimes it's just hard to tell that, like, you know, you just don't know if a scene is like someone's like hugging and crying. You're like, oh, are they like sad or do they love each other? Like, you know what I mean? It's like what kind of crying is it?
Yeah.
You want to put the Benny Hill theme over a scene where people are hugging and crying. I remember you telling Andrew and I about that, about how weird it felt to watch like the rough cut without any
Just
music.
Well,
and
it's like sounds and stuff. It's very strange. It feels. It's just really weird. It's because it's so strange, and you because you don't realize. Well, you do. Most people do realize, but you know, even the scenes when there's nothing musical happening per se, things fade in and out to help carry conversations and like create movement amongst like rather, you know, still images of or long shots of things happening. You know, it's like it's fascinating stuff.
Have you been digging into like film scores? Like, what have you been listening to?
Mika Levy.
Very cool.
They're like probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Favorite. Just like from the, what's it called? The Scarlett Johansson movie.
Under the Skin. Oh man.
10 out of 10.
That's the one with all the string stuff. Right? Oh man. It is just
it's crazy. It truly. The first time I ever heard that was Rob Gordon DJ'd it.
Oh really?
And it was insane. It was just like he was like playing some, I don't even know what, because anytime he DJs, I'm like, what are you even playing?
I really wanted to like, I could sense that I was bugging him.
Yeah.
Because I was drunkenly like pestering him about like what he was playing.
Yeah.
But I was like, you played an Ashley MacIsaac song. Remember Ashley MacIsaac?
No, but was that the one you Shazammed?
I didn't. Did I Shazam a song?
Someone did. I swore it was.
It's the one. It's like the really like fiddle heavy one. Yeah.
Wait, who's Ashley MacIsaac?
He was like he's like a CanCon dude. Like he was like I can't remember what the album was called, but he had like a quasi hit on Much Music. That was the song that Rob played.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember the video was this woman in sunglasses walking around. It's like the most 90s thing ever. Like it's like fiddle fusion. Like it's cartoonishly bad, but like I heard it and I was just like, why do I know this? Like it was like lodged somewhere in my, and I was like, Ashley MacIsaac, crazy. And it's that feeling of like, what is that memory displacing? What don't I remember about like
childhood?
exactly that I can remember, like, and then and the album is called Hi How Are You TM. So I now have like too much I like, this is like oh my god,
that might have to be the outro music for this episode.
So I was, when he was DJing last night, I was just like, and you're gonna play that? And you're gonna play that? I was just, it was the best.
There was some crazy numbers in that. I was like, every song I was just like, what is this?
And they were also like mixed in with other things. There was like 3 turntables. And
his own songs too.
Well, one thing he played, was it you that asked him? Or did I ask him? I can't remember.
It was you.
There's something that I was playing and I was like, what is this? He's like, oh, I made this. And I was like, but like what and how and where? He's like, I recorded it at Bambi's once when I was like, no one was there, and I was like, what are you talking? Like, I couldn't even figure out what he was even talking about, but I just like nodded and I was like, yes.
Yeah, I everybody last night was like, oh, it's Josh and Timpa and CFCF. Wait, and Rob Gordon's team. But like every single person who like knew was just like, it's gonna be the best night ever. I was just like, who is this guy? But he was the best.
He's literally
incredible. He was so good.
He's actually, I think, one of the best DJs ever, because he just takes it to a level that most don't, honestly.
Yeah.
Where it's not about like sick transitions and then like, you know what I mean? Like, song into song, which like I'm guilty of doing and whatever, but like that's fine.
Yeah.
But with him, it's like a journey.
Oh yeah. It really felt like that.
Yeah.
Like, because he played like a folky Eric's Trip song after like some techno track, and I was just like, this is, why does this work? Like it was like you know, scrambling my brain.
It was Eric's Trip. I remember that when that song came on, I was like, what is this song? I know this one.
Just, oh,
Well, it's funny because I always not forget because it was such a huge part of your life, but you were a DJ
I was.
for a long time.
Yeah, for a while, 5 years.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. And then I sort of half-heartedly tried to do it when I moved to London, and I actually did a night with Anthony.mp4.
Really?
Just one night, we DJ'd together in the basement of this place. Oh fuck, what was it called? Now all I can think about is actually MacIsaac. It was a place around the corner from where I used to live in Stoke Newington, and like we kept running into each other.
Yeah.
And like he was just like, we should DJ together. And I was like, yeah, we should. Let's try to make it happen. And I had done some work for this company called the Lanzarote Group, who do like bookings and stuff. I've done a couple posters for them when I first moved. So I knew one of their bookers, and I was just like, do you have any venues that we can DJ at? We did, and it was fine.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
no,
I think this is over.
and
I was just like, because like we were playing like house and disco and stuff, and I was just like, I love all this music, but like I will never be good enough to play this in any sort of like capacity in which it's meant to be played. So like I'm gonna focus my attention elsewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but back in the day, you were.
I loved it. I really loved it. But I've been interviewed a couple of times, and I always sort of, that's like a very foundational part of how I got to where I am, because when I first started DJing, I didn't have any sort of like idea of what I was, not just what I was playing or how to do it, but like how to market myself. Or I was doing this. I got a booking at the Queen's Head. I mean, which is obviously not there anymore.
Tim Hortons.
Yeah, I got a booking at the Tim Hortons. And I was like, oh, I guess I better make a poster. I'd never made a poster before, and I was just like, okay, this is how you do it. And I finished it, and it looked insane. Or it didn't look insane. I shouldn't say it looked insane, but it was like very much like there was a drawing of me on it, and like the title of the party was in like serial killer like brush pen, and all of the like I didn't know how to use. I wasn't using Photoshop, so I was laying everything out by hand, and I was like, wow, that was like really satisfying. And then the longer I did it, and then obviously like I was booking bands as well, like and doing posters for little girls when we were playing shows. Yeah. And I realized at one point I was like, I like that part of it so much more. Not that I didn't like DJing itself, but I was just like the satisfaction of like knowing that this is working and I can like tangibly see how it's working. Yeah, was super satisfying.
Well, the early like branding, I should show you these after, or you should show Austin just some of those posters. Yeah. But they were iconic at a certain point, because you would truly figured something out that was consistent, but different each time. Right. Yeah. They were like drawing. They weren't drawings. They were like.
They were So the Room Party posters.
Yeah.
They were
iconic party.
So it was, I mean, I loved doing it.
Those were like formative years for me because I was young. Those were probably my first like cool parties that I went to, where it was like I was going and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go hear some shit that I've never heard before. It's gonna be a bunch of people that are like interested in art and music and whatever. And it's like, and like as a young, I was probably 18 or something when I went to the first one. Because I told you the first time I ever saw you was at the Chelsea Room.
That's right.
I didn't know you. And we went there, and you and Colin were DJing.
That's
and I was like, this is sick. And then I feel like you must have even had the poster for the party like at the venue or something.
I think so.
And then I saw it, and I was like, oh, sick. Like, this is... Yeah. And then I literally, it was before even just like, I'm sure you had... I don't even know if they had Facebook events back then.
Oh, yeah. No, we really, like, we did. But that was like when Facebook events were like...
But I mean before, because I remember literally just seeing another flyer on the street, and it was like, like Friday, May 4th, like this. And I was like, oh, those... And I didn't know it was you or Colin. Like, those are the same guys. And then I remember going again, and then like that's how that... Then we ended up meeting and... Yeah. Somewhere else, I forget.
It was through Ruse Bay.
Right.
Because Ruse Bay was like this band of like I think yeah, you're like 17 or 18.
Yeah, because I dropped off a CD at what's it called?
At Slinky.
Yeah.
And he was like, this band is doing such cool stuff. Like you have to come see them. And it was like you and Joe and 3 other people.
Yeah, my friend Nick and Jimmy. Is there someone else?
I mean, I don't. I remember I got to the
Luke,
show.
maybe? I don't even know.
I got to that show because you were playing at the Drake Underground.
Yeah.
And like I only caught like the last 2 songs, and I was like, that was cool. and then that like quickly ended, and Pirate Rock started.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I was like,
yeah.
let's. And then I mean, obviously, we became
friends.
The friends is what we are now. But yeah, like I really I value the experience on the go that doing those posters, and that party specifically, taught me, because like I went into DJing with no preconceptions of like even making money from it.
Right.
I was like, I love 60s garage rock and like soul and funk music. Like I need to like utilize all of this money that I'm like flushing down the toilet on these like crazily expensive like imports. Like it was like all of those like reissue labels, like all the CDs like cost a fortune, and I was like going down to New York, and like I don't know where I was getting the money, but I was just like spending so much money. I was just like, I have to do something with this. And so you know, DJing seemed like the right thing to do, and I had no background in design whatsoever. I had when I quit smoking, I started drawing to like, because I was like a 2-pack a day smoker for a long time, and I was drawing, and you know, I drew when I was like a child, and I never went back. Like and likewise collage, I did zines in high school, but like none of that stuff ever seemed serious. And so when I quit smoking, I was just drawing and drawing and drawing, just as a way of like keeping my hands busy, because I was feeling so crazy. And when this party started, I originally had a partner that I was doing it with, this guy Adam, and like I was like, let me take a stab at the poster. And I didn't know what to do, and I was like, I got to go back. I'll use these drawings that I've been doing.
Yeah.
And that's how that started.
Right.
And then like, you know, I started discovering like contemporary dance music, because like I look back on my early 20s, and I was such a fucking weirdo, because like I was like 21, and I was like, hey, have you heard the Strawberry Alarm Clock? Like, you know, ripping solo, like just like stuff that like a 21-year-old, like 21, like not with no disrespect to anyone's taste, like the fact that I was like, I have to find the most obscure folk music, the most obscure garage rock, like, and had never heard the Byrds kind of thing. Like it was real like crazy person behavior. And like,
but that was the thing at the time though. That was
totally, yeah, for sure. But like, you know, that idea of like only doing that and like making that like a central like tenet of your personality was like pretty weird. And like I remember, and like again, sorry I keep mentioning Andrew, but like our mutual friend Andrew can attest to this, that like I was always searching for like rare folk gems, like and like the more obscure and the like weirder and like
worse the recording,
because I got super into like private press Christian folk, like, and it's like there's a reason, like, and you know, not to say that like everything that's popular is good or its popularity merits its place in history, but like there's a reason that like a quasi cult recording like out of tune folk music on equipment that's like falling apart isn't iconic. And like and I was just like, that was, and so this learning on the go of like, I'm gonna play a party and I'm gonna play the most obscure music I can think of, and then realizing that like certain iconic songs moved people more, and then from there getting into like post-punk and, you know, contemporary dance music and DFA and all of that stuff, and then like from there like moving to a bigger venue, realizing I can make money off of it properly, and like booking bands to play, which I think was part of the reason that I started booking gigs. And it was a real like, and I think all of that happened in the space of a year or a year and a half. Like it went from like I'm gonna stumble through making a poster to oh no, I have like defined a visual identity, defined what this party is, defined my role in it, and defined how I like mediate that role through the people I get to guest. Because Adam and I had a falling out. He didn't continue the party with me, and so I wanted to have fun while I was there. So I was just like, I'll get, you know, I'll get guests in, and the guests I got in were sort of people who are transitioning from being promoters or DJs or party people to people who had businesses, and like watching how they worked was also really was a real education. Yeah. And like their kind of like engagement with, because it like not to, and this is like giving much too much credence to like what was at the end of the day like a party in a bar, but like it was super formative for me, and I really loved doing it. And like I got so into school when I went back to design school that like I think I kind of robbed myself of, I mean, I quit Little Girls. I really, after 4 months of trying to do the party and balancing it with school, stopped doing the party. And like I think back now and I'm just like, that really felt like exactly the same kind of obsessive behavior of like that I was, you know, manifesting in how I like searched for rare folk gems. Right. And like, yeah. And I do wish I had done it a little bit longer, because yeah, it was a ball. I loved it.
I think it ended just in the right amount of time, to be honest, because it was like things were kind of changing at that point too.
Yeah, that's true.
The shift, a certain shift was happening.
Shift? Wait, what time?
This might have been like maybe an even earlier shift, like 2009.
End of 2009 is when I ended the party.
Yeah,
December 2009.
So it seems to be a shift every 5 years.
Shift every 5 years. That seems to be it.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Have you noticed the shift?
Have
you heard of the vibe shift?
I have not heard of the 5 shift.
Well, that's without even mentioning it. Just have you noticed the shift?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was interesting going to the show last night, and it felt like a much richer community than like the sort of like, because when I moved to Toronto in 2002, and I think we were talking about this, like the like that was right when Broken Social Scene like was happening. Like Do Makes They Think were as huge as they would ever get. Like Three Gut Records, the Constantines, Royal City, all these bands, but it was just so homogenous. And like that show last night was so interesting because there seemed to be so much more influence from so many other sources. Because like that last track you played, that like the
that I played,
that you played,
The Joy,
yeah. Like it's so inspired by like drum and bass, and like taking so much from you know, styles that like I think that like the shift that I notice rather than I don't know. I do notice a shift. Sorry, I'm really like I'm really like choosing my words carefully, but like drum and bass, rave culture, whatever was its own thing. That was like hermetically sealed off from like indie rock, which was its own thing, which was hermetically sealed off from dance parties, which were hermetically sealed off from like art parties. And like I remember actually like I think the shift that I sort of like bungled my way into, luckily, was that like the artists all wanted to party. And like you know, there was a feeling of like, because there were these parties by this guy Alex Couleurs at the same time that were like almost like archly pretentious, but like we're very much about like, we're gonna have DJs from Baltimore, we're gonna have like Dan Deacon do, or not even Dan Deacon, but like, we're gonna have Dan Deacon do a set, and we're also gonna have like live painting, and like there's gonna be an event photographer, and it's nothing new, but I think it was new for Toronto at the time. And I think Toronto like historically has been very, you know, Southwestern Ontario, waspy, like, and I think it pushes against that as much as it can, but like That's not what last night was, and that's the shift that I noticed, and that's what I find really exciting coming back to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just life after
Death. Pandemic love. The pandemic.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Things are changing and probably for the better.
I think it's there was definitely like the few events that I've been to in the last little bit. There's like this slight awkwardness. It's just like, I don't really know what we're doing here, but then it does go away after a while. But it's funny to see everyone kind of like collectively coming back and like being slightly socially awkward, but then like working their way back into it. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's
like,
nice.
how do I say hi? Like, do we hug? Do we not hug? Does COVID exist? Does it not exist? I don't know what's happening here. Like,
my biggest shock. I mean, do you remember like at the beginning of COVID when people were like, "This is the death of the handshake. We will never shake hands again." And even at the time, I was like, "You're a fucking idiot." Like. People like people. Like that's part of that's part of what being in the world is. Yeah, like. But I was like hugging everyone last night. COVID be damned. Although, yikes, it was definitely in the room. So I hope that super immunity joke that I keep making is not a joke.
But I think another point that you were making there about just the shift that's going on in culture right now is that like there isn't necessarily, and we've talked about this, there isn't necessarily a separation between like, oh, this is like a drum and bass thing, this is a house thing, this is a post-punk thing, this is a hardcore thing. Like even like your stuff and Timpa stuff and CFCF stuff, it's like kind of like it's all of it at once. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then I think that's a much more eloquent way of saying what I was sort of trying to say.
But I've noticed that in a couple different ways, and it's same with movies and stuff. We're talking about it's like not just comedy, it's comedy,
right?
Like the whole genre, this genre is just like really disappearing. I think. Really, really disappearing. And I think that's the major shift that I've been noticing, and it's been happening for a while.
But now it just seems to be the norm.
Yeah,
you know?
does. Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah. I mean, you always evangelized for Spotify like long before I got it, and I never really got.
I did.
Yeah, you were like, you have everything at your fingertips, and therefore there are no more gatekeepers to like culture, and also like you can choose a playlist that someone made that has again like drum and bass, disco, post-punk, like folk music, and like
a broken social scene song.
Yeah. I remember like, I mean, and this like speaks to my age, but like I remember just thinking like You Forgotten in People is like the future of music. I was like, this is incredible.
It's a good album.
It's a good album, but it's weird. Like it's weird that it was like it's every song is so different. But like no, they're not. But maybe that's just time. Maybe that's just time like changing.
Looking back.
You know, Justin Peroff might be listening.
I'm sorry. I do still love the album. It was an iconic album, and it was such an important moment for Toronto. But it's just like it's interesting how time recontextualizes things.
Yes.
Like,
cool. What a good hour and 7 minutes. That's pretty good.
yeah.
Just wanted to know.
Do whatever. I'm enjoying the chat.
Anything else you want to talk about? Well, one thing actually, so it's funny.
Okay.
We were talking about this maybe one of the first times we met, which by the way was like 2 months ago.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the band Hood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love Hood. We're
Which
both
is so
basically-
funny.
So good.
Yeah, they're so good. But I didn't know about the rap phase.
Well, because we were talking about that.
Rap.
Rap. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, the Cold House has Dose One on it.
Right.
Which is again, like it really, like, looking back, you can kind of see like cultural moments where it was just like itching to like break through to a kind of like what we were just talking
Yeah,
about.
like everything
and, like,
all at once. Yeah.
and it like just there wasn't the infrastructure for it, but also there was like no one really knew how to do it. Because like the Notwist had a side project with the Anticon rappers and stuff, like
Right.
all of that, like lap pop or whatever you want to call it, like
Wait, what's lap pop?
Lap pop.
it was like more music and the Notwist, and it was kind of adjacent to what what's his name, Wolfgang Voigt was doing with Compact and the pop ambient stuff. And
right.
like, but it was all that was all happening like 1999 to 2004 ish.
Yeah.
But like, and that's sort of what like Fortet and Caribou emerged out of. But I
Yeah.
think they did way more with it and made it more interesting. But like, I do think that there was like there was like an aspiration to like bring in different sounds.
Yeah.
But like,
Dude, I feel like it seems forced.
it does 100%.
It's not. It doesn't, because it doesn't seem like a collaboration as much as somebody joining an existing song and sound.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like something where it's just like we're gonna collaborate on this together. It's like you wrote this thing and you're like, and now you can just do your thing on this section.
Right.
Yeah, and like I think like that was true of like Anticon for sure, and like Def Jux. Like I love Def Jux, but it does feel like, what if we made rap music? But it was noisy. it's just like, yeah, and it's great. Like those Def Jux albums are so good, like, but so dated, and like they do feel sort of like painfully, sort of like there's like a sense of like satisfaction over how like groundbreaking they are,
Right,
and
right,
like
right.
all of the stuff that was actually groundbreaking was like you weren't aware of how groundbreaking it was
Until later.
or
Yeah.
like but yeah, that Cold House is such a great album.
Yeah.
Like it's I like that you guys love Hood because
Well, I recently found them like a year ago.
I only found them like maybe like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
well
but
you posted
And then you were like, Hood? What do you know about Hood? I was like, what have I done?
oh no.
I was like, did I post like a Death in June song or something?
oh wait, are Death in June canceled? Are they bad? Are they bad people?
Oh, yeah.
Are they? Okay, right.
Nazis.
Nazis, whoa.
Right.
That's mega canceled. That's
Yeah,
hard
that's-
canceled.
I didn't know that. I don't
Nazis-
like Death in June. I'm putting this on the record. I don't, and I never did. I don't like any of that. I don't like Current 93. I don't like any of it. I don't like any of that music. I never have.
Well, even when you listen to it, you can hear it going down that route from like post punk to like what do they call it? Like something folk. It's like
Oh yeah.
it's like very like nationalist folk. Like,
Yeah.
like you, and the album covers get sketchier and sketchier.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Totally.
whoa.
That's how I feel about Swans. Like I will never be a Swans fan because I'm just like, oh, there's just
There's something going on.
There's something going on. Like there's some kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
I saw them live. Great show.
Ickiness. I mean, I bet it would, because they have that. What is it? Their drummer's name is like
Thor?
Thor. Yeah. That guy's great. I saw
He's
him
so
drum for
cool.
Bill Callahan once. It was awesome. Like,
Yeah, you go to the Swans show for Thor, not Michael Cyrus.
No, like,
This is also going to be the nerdy bonus content, by the way.
fantastic. Yeah. This is. I feel like we ended on an eloquent point, and now we're getting
We can
deep
get
into
into the
it.
nerds.
This is the part of the pod that I love. Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. Oh no, that's what I was gonna say. When you posted that Hood song, like the neighborhood record store by me, I follow them on Instagram and we're buddies, and they'll post like new used content.
Yeah.
They actually had a couple of Hood albums and they're like £50 each, and I was like, what's going on the feed today in my life? Like Josh is listening to Hood and the local record store is like selling it for an exorbitant price. Like, what's up?
Josh posted it, so they started selling
Well,
it.
it's true. Yeah. Look, like,
I do control the narrative.
You do.
But it is crazy how stuff can like happen this way now, and I want to believe it's some like magical, spiritual, like collective unconscious thing. It's probably just the internet, but how like we can.
Both.
I think it's a bit of both, but how. We didn't even know each other, and we were probably stumbling across Hood for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, and then the record store started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these things seem to happen.
Yeah.
Or like even I don't know, certain stories the things I've told you about. There was like a story that I wrote that like it turns out someone that we knew had written like the exact same story.
Oh yeah.
And then like a movie came out that was the exact same story. And it's just crazy how like in the zeitgeist of things there's all these ideas.
Totally. It's the Armageddon Deep Impact thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's so weird that that's a thing that is a common occurrence that like only ever reaches like common understanding when like Michael Bay and Roland Emmerich are both like, let's destroy the world. But it's so weird that happens
all the time too.
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah.
There's an expression for it. It's like parallel. I don't know. There's an expression for it, but like it's really cool that that's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, every single time it happens, it's like at first a bummer, especially when it's something that like I've been working on.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh fuck, okay. It happens to me way too much. I feel like I think it's because I'm at a point in like my stuff where I'm not at the level that I can just start making things.
Sure.
So then I have a lot of ideas that sit for too long.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And then
But unfortunately, even aside from that, like there's so much of that is out of your control.
Yeah.
When you're creating things, because like even if it's an album or if it's a movie or artwork or anything, it's like at the end of the day, the powers that be are the ones who control when it comes out. So it's like you make an album, it's like you want to just be like, let's go, but it's like nope, like the label says you can't put it out for 9 months, and we have a 3-month lead up of press, and we have to get them pressed on vinyl, and that's going to take another like who knows how long, and like this, and then by the time the thing comes out, it's arguably dated from when you wanted it. If it is something hyper
I feel like this has to change, and I think it is changing. Even in movies, we're seeing it change in like what's happening in New York, where people are just like putting out their movies.
Right.
You know, like with how fast things are going on the internet, I don't think it's possible for us to continue that slow deliberation of things like movies and music. Mm-hmm. Because it just happens way too fast now. And then now there's going to be, and this might be sick, because now there's going to be kids who are just like posting on the internet as soon as it's like made in their bedroom studio.
I think it might go the other direction as well.
Oh, okay.
Because I was reading, the year before last, I was reading this biography of Tom Waits. And like, you know, with what I do, there's sort of like an unspoken need to show yourself. Like I haven't posted anything on Instagram in like 3 weeks, and I haven't had a commission in 2.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just, and I don't know if there's a correlation with that, but like this idea of constantly showing your work, constantly like having output to make and to show and to talk about. I'm reading this biography, and it's like, I can't remember. It was like he made Heart Attack and Vine and or whatever, and then decided to take 2 years off.
Yeah.
And it's just like, can you imagine taking 2 years off?
Yeah,
just being like, I'm gonna like regroup.
Yeah.
And I do think that like people, like I think people want that, like they want the ability to like finish something and have the sort of ability and infrastructure to be like, and now I'm gonna go and think about whatever the next thing is.
Yeah.
Like, because right now there's just so much demand for like content.
Yeah.
And
it cheapens it. It cheapens
100%.
everything.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Because the problem is it's to be able to do that currently is such a privilege.
Exactly. You have to already be established.
Totally.
You have to be like a legacy artist to be like, where did they go? What have they done? And they're like fucking off in like Sweden or something. And it's like, you know.
Yeah, but like legacy. Like you can't even like you can't be like a top like a top tier artist.
Well, Frank Ocean's doing it right now, which is very interesting.
But he's
yeah, but he's like
mega huge.
Yeah, and he has like quite the following.
And I mean, he's always sort of baked that into what he does.
Yeah,
which
and
I think is amazing.
He has his fan base to continue the legacy as he's gone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like every time he doesn't drop something for like a year, everybody's where is he? What's going on? And like the that became a meme, right?
Oh,
like that was
totally.
like that, and then so then he continues to stay in the public eye by becoming absent. You know what I mean?
So
but that's being a legend and something.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because like even with him, like he won't drop anything for it's been like 5 years since his last album or something. Maybe 4. Yeah. But you'll see him like riding his bike in New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's very much like around. He's just like, but it's just
I love it.
It's fascinating when an artist does something where it's not like they've even just like blacked out their social media and just like gone off the grid. It's like no, like life is still going on.
Yeah.
But that part of them as an artist is not on display currently.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Frank Ocean, the human, is living his life in New York. But Frank Ocean, the artist, will eventually come back and will be on the.
And it'll be something like even bigger than like the fact that like Blonde was bigger than Channel Orange.
Yeah.
I remember everyone being like, how the fuck did he do it?
Yeah.
Now you listen to Channel Orange and you're like, yeah, this is great, but like
it's not that good.
Blonde is so much better. Like, it's like, yeah, it's wild. Like
because my man Alex G's on that album.
Who's Alex G?
Indie artist,
indie guy, plays guitar. He's from like Philadelphia, I think.
Okay.
He like co-wrote a bunch of the songs.
Oh, he used to be Sandy Alex
yes.
G. Right.
No. Sorry, he's now Sandy Alex G. He used to be Alex G.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, I think
it was because it was Alex G first. Because I remember
Right.
I was following him when he was Alex G, and then I'm sure there's another Alex G who like sued him or something.
Right,
and was
right.
like, so he put Sandy in front in brackets.
I haven't listened to much of his music, but his album covers are so good.
You would
they're
probably
really nice.
love it. It's
yeah.
very up your alley.
Yeah. What's my alley?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us.
Well, it just pulls really heavily from a lot of like 90s college rock indie kind of stuff, but not in a Sonic Youth way, in like a more like, I don't know.
It's almost folkier.
Yeah, it's a little folkier.
Yeah.
It's even a little countrier. There's a little twang in some of the albums and stuff.
That does sound like my alley.
Yeah, it's really good. It's
That
really
was
good.
that was really unfortunately accurate to my alley.
I know the alley.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Walk down the alley.
I've got it. Yeah.
You know the
Hidden
alley.
beer in the alley.
Yeah. Whiskey bottle in the alley. Sliced up hand. I was gonna say when we were talking about that, why is a Toronto winter so horrible to our bodies? When I was here for like 4 days, and on the second of those days, Aileen had just left, and I took a walk to BNB, and I was coming back, and like I slipped and fucking right on my tailbone, and I just like couldn't sit for like 6 weeks.
No.
It was horrible.
Oh no.
It was like truly awful. I don't get it. Like it's such a that's like the number one Toronto winter pastime. Like
just
injuring
eating
yourself
shit.
horribly.
Yeah, it's so.
Yeah. Inside or outside, you're on side.
Yeah. When you said it was winter and you were in the
winter
pit, it was
boots,
just
right?
like, yeah. All right. This has been great.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for. Sorry, why did I say that? Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm still very hungover.
Of course.